remembering the final call for Superflea. Also, when a rock star came to Buffalo City Honors, and the late Jackie O.
Dave McKinley has our weekly walk back through time when those stories and more were all news to you.
10 years ago this week, when Superflea in Cheektowaga conducted its final day of business, seeking a second term, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced his new running mate would be a Western New Yorker, Kathy Hochul, who would eventually become governor when Cuomo resigned amid a sex harassment scandal 7 years later, and who still serves as governor today. And as it does every year, Merriam-Webster was adding new words to the dictionary. Selfie and hashtag were among the new inclusions this week in 2014. 20 years ago this week, among some new trends were prom attire made of duct tape, people riding roller coasters naked, and a push for a new form of governance locally.
Local lawmakers are thinking long and hard about merging the city of Buffalo with Erie County.
The idea of metro government has surfaced periodically since then, never gaining ground. The lights went out on the Red Star when the parent company of that trucking business whose rigs were once ubiquitous on Western New York roadways shut it down, leaving hundreds out of jobs, while at the box office,
Shrek and Donkey on another whirlwind adventure,
as Shrek 2 opened in theaters this week in 2004. 30 years ago this week, when you could still shop at the Sunshine Market on Hurdle near Parkside, a local student named Clarissa Markowitz won a national poetry contest judged by a major recording star, where part of the prize was a free performance at her school, which he made good on. This week's News to You pop quiz: do you know who this is? Performing live before delighted students at Buffalo City Honors High School this week in 1994. Remember, this was the same week that
Channel 2 News has learned that Amherst will soon get another shot in the arm. Arrangements have just been finalized to bring the town its first Walmart store.
And when Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis passed away at the age of 64 and was laid to rest in Arlington National Cemetery next to her late husband, beneath the eternal flame she lit when he was assassinated more than 30 years prior. 40 years ago this week, when John McEnroe and Yvonne Lendl were still among the biggest rivals who ever laced up a pair of tennis shoes, Republic Steel was still hiring, and the school year was nearing a close with lessons learned using the overhead projector. You do remember those, don't you? And when a young student's thoughts turned to summer, and the opening of Crystal Beach Amusement Park under new management, which had spent a fortune in renovations, so much so that they announced ticket prices would have to double to $2 whole Canadian. This week in 1984, when it was all news to you.
Love it. And here's the answer to this week's News to You pop quiz. We all know who that is, right? Jackson Browne.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Browne played a concert at City Honors High School 30 years ago this week. And the one thing he said, you know what he said at the...
What did he say,
He
Pete?
goes, what, this isn't performing arts? No, just kidding. Browne came to the school after judging that nationwide poetry contest and selected the poem submitted by Clarissa Markowitz as the best of all the entries. Markowitz, by the way, went on to become a novelist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's revisit that whole roller coaster naked experience. What was that all about?
Let's not.
I would rather have the duct tape tux.
Yeah.
Thank you. But,
that sounds a lot more comfortable.
Whose idea was that, and who made it happen?
I don't know. I'm glad it didn't become a thing.
Right. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.